Hi everyone, Cheryl here from Love and Light Yoga, and thank you for joining me for this yoga for tightness routine. So if you're here, chances are the body is feeling a little bit stiff or tense or tight, and together we're going to move through some nice opening stretchy yoga asanas to stretch out those muscles and relieve any pain or tension that we may be holding on to. So whenever you are ready, let's begin. So let's begin our practice today by coming towards the back of our mat and meeting in a wide-legged child's pose. So take the toes together, take the knees as wide as the mat, slide the fingertips forwards and bring the forehead all the way down, maybe onto the mat. If bringing the head down onto the mat already feels a little bit too tight for the back, then just bring the forehead on top of the hands. But just start to tap into the breath here. So start to lengthen out the breath, taking those deeper inhales, followed by longer exhales. And start to feel the space in the body. So starting to feel lots of room through the sides of the waist, in the chest, in the upper back, in your hips. And with every exhale, allow your chest to melt a little bit closer towards the mat. Maybe here we take the gaze forward towards our fingertips, and we might start to walk the fingers a little bit further towards the front of our mat, keeping the elbows lifted, keeping the hips low. Keep the chest pressing down towards the mat so we feel this nice deep stretch for the upper back. Go ahead and take one full inhale here and a full exhale. And then slowly come all the way up and we'll meet in our tabletop with wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And from here we're going to flow through some cat-cow. So as we inhale, we look forward, we drop the belly, we point the tailbone up. And as we exhale, tuck the chin into the chest, press the mat away and arch the back. Inhale, we look forwards. Exhale, chin to chest, round the spine. Inhale, roll forwards, drop the belly. Exhale, chin to chest, round the spine. Nice, just take a few more exactly like this. Making this movement as big or as small as it needs to be. If we are quite tight in the back, in any area of the back, this might feel a little bit intense, and that's okay. We can start with this movement super slow. Maybe working it a little bit bigger each time. Let's take one more full inhale into our cow. Exhale, coming back into our cat. And then let's meet in a nice neutral position back in our tabletop. From here, we're going to move into a puppy pose. So we're going to drop the elbows to where the palms of the hands just were. We're going to keep the hips high and over the knees. And if this is enough, this is exactly where you'll stay. We want to feel a nice deep stretch in through the upper back. If we want to go a little bit further, we start to walk those fingertips further towards the top of the mat. Start to melt the chest towards the mat. Feel space through the armpits, through the chest. And take a few deep breaths here. Maybe the forehead rests onto the mat. And just maybe we can create a little bit more space by maybe bending the elbows, bringing the hands into Namaste on top of the head. Breathing deeply here. Nice, let's take one more full breath here. And then after your exhale, dropping the hands if they are lifted, lifting the gaze. And then from here, coming back onto the elbows, sending the legs back, and we'll meet lying down on our bellies. We're going to come into Sphinx pose here. So we want to keep the palms of the hands pressing into the mat. Elbows are underneath the shoulders, and then we're going to roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, shine the heart forwards. Taking a few deep breaths here. Keep the legs nice and long. Tops of the feet pressing into the floor. Pelvic bone pressing into the floor. Breathing deeply, maybe pressing into the hands, lifting the chest a little bit higher, creating length through the back. And then go ahead and take your chin down in towards your chest. Maybe take a few little half neck circles here. Rocking one ear to one shoulder and then across to the other side. And keep it slow here, especially if we feel quite tight or sore in the neck or the shoulders. You can keep this movement super slow. And then eventually bringing the chin back to center, lifting the gaze. We're going to tuck the toes under, slide the hands back, maybe underneath the shoulders, and then we can start to lift the hips. We're going to meet in a downward facing dog. So lift the knees off the floor, press yourself all the way back into your downward facing dog, and then let's just walk the dog out here, bending each knee at a time. Stretching in through the backs of the legs. Stretching out those hamstrings, stretching out those glute muscles. Letting the neck hang heavy here. And then come back to stillness. If you are super tight through the back of the body, go ahead and take a nice deep bend through your knees. Imagine as if you're trying to set your tummy on top of your thighs. And you might stay here. If you're feeling a little bit more flexible, maybe we straighten out the legs. Maybe we try to press the heels towards the back of the mat. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. We just want to find a place that feels good. And then focus in on the breath. Continue to take full inhales and exhales. Press the hands firmly into the mat. Gaze is back towards your toes, no tension in the neck. Take one more big inhale and a full exhale. And then take a nice bend through both knees. Step the feet a little bit wider, maybe as wide as the mat, and walk the hands back and meet me in a forward fold. So the knees can be quite deeply bent here. The hands don't have to be on the floor, the hands might be much higher. But we're just thinking about being almost like a rag doll here. So letting everything from the hips up, completely relax over the legs. Let the arms feel heavy. The head hangs heavy. Take a few deep breaths here. And focus your breath up and down your spine. Imagine the weight of your head pulling the spine long, decompressing the back. Shoulders are heavy. Take one more full breath here. And then take a nice deep bend through both knees and slowly roll all the way up, coming all the way into standing. And from here, bring the feet about hip distance apart. Inhale to reach the hands all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees. We're going to fold forwards. We're going to bring the hands either onto the floor or onto the shins or onto the thighs. And we're going to find our halfway lift. So we want to feel the backs of the legs being almost as straight as they can be. So if that means that we need to be all the way up here, this is where we can be. But just come to where the legs are straight, the spine is long, and we want to avoid hunching through the back. So if we find that we're hunching through the back, maybe we need to come up a little bit higher. Keep the gaze down towards your mat, and just take a few deep breaths here into the hamstrings. Imagine someone is pulling the crown of your head forward and pulling your tailbone back. Let's take one more full breath. And then after your exhale, go ahead and bend the knees, bring the hands to the floor, and then step back into one more child's pose. So toes together, knees apart, walk the fingers forward, take the forehead down. And just slow down your breath here. Let your body come back to stillness. Give your body a moment to absorb those movements and those stretches. Maybe noticing how you feel. Take 3 more deep and mindful breaths here. And then after your third exhale, slowly lifting the gaze, walking the hands back towards the knees and coming into your seated position. And this is a little routine that you can come back to any time that the body is feeling a little bit tense or a little bit tight or stiff. So I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you did, please let me know or give me a like. If you would like to see more like this, please subscribe. And whatever you are doing, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Namaste.